Hello and welcome to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. This podcast takes you behind the scenes of very successful mortgage businesses across North America and shares with you the strategies, systems, marketing, and philosophies of these businesses and takes you behind the scenes of the structures of how these business owners are building such incredible mortgage businesses. Our goal with this podcast is to help you understand how to create and grow a mortgage business that makes you truly wealthy. And that includes both the money and the time that you need to truly live a life of freedom. Now, during these interviews, I look to pull out at least 3 incredibly valuable and life-changing tips from each guest, and they tend to show up near the end of each episode for some reason. So make sure you stay to the end. And when you find value in one of our episodes, please take the time to head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It makes a big impact on our ability to continue to attract top performers and give you incredible value on the show. So thank you for listening to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. My name is Chris Johnstone. I'm your host. Let's get started on getting you one step closer to wealth in your mortgage business. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are blessed today to have Richard Brandt, and this is actually our first ever double header episode because we also have Jarbas Beznos on the call with us as well. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking your time and for being here with us today.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Right on. So,
thank you.
Richard, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off, can you give us just a little bit about your background? Like, how did you get into the mortgage industry? How did you get started, and where have you grown to at this point?
Okay, so I got into the mortgage industry in kind of a unique way. My mother's been in the business for 30 years.
Nice.
And in 2017, she got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
When she got cancer, one of the things that struck me about the business is that the way, at least the way she ran it, it was very much a profession and not a business. And the distinction for me is a profession is if you're able to work it, you're able to make money. If you're not able to do something, then you're not doing anything. It's not like a tangible business. Yeah. So I had a process service business for nearly 20 years. Process services, when you knock on somebody's door, they don't pay their mortgage, you hand them the piece of paper.
Okay.
Not loan processing, process serving. So when I tell people that, they immediately go to the process segment, which is why I clarify. Yep. So the cool thing about the mortgage business is that, like, now people will talk to me, whereas before people will run away. Yep. But I will say this, my processing service days had much cooler stories. Now it's just, oh my God, this guy had a 560 credit score. I can't believe I got him a loan. But yeah, way cooler stories back in the day. But anyway, my mom got cancer. When she got sick, I had actually sold my company in 2015 and was working for the company that bought my company.
Okay.
And so when she got sick, though, I decided that I was going to leave. I was going to leave my position and come and work with her because I felt that while she was getting treatment, I could sort of learn the business and get people comfortable enough that they would continue to, despite not having sort of that team at the time, be able to sort of keep that business and sort of maintain what she built over the last 30 years. And that's how I got into the business. And we've been together ever since. She's still working. She's cancer-free for 3 years. Yay, Mom.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so, and I've gotten into the business and we've now developed it. Now it's become a business, right? We've got a team. It's not necessarily, I don't need to do every single thing that's involved in the file, neither does she. And so we're rocking out. She gets to stay in Utah half the year and ski and do all kinds of stuff. And I pretty much run the business.
That is amazing. Well, you just touched on a huge point, especially for the mortgage industry itself, in looking at your business as a business. There's so many people that have got themselves a really high-paying job, but just like you said, if the activities stop, everything stops. And one of the things that I love about the Freedom Club and the processes that happen, you really end up building a business that is a saleable asset, because you can ultimately get to a point where you step out of the systems and processes and get to a point where you're at, where you're a business owner, not necessarily an operator, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's funny. That was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did when I kind of came into this was to do that. I built a business. I built businesses before and sold them and made them a tangible asset. So being able to sort of replicate that
Yep.
with the ideas that you get from the Freedom Club, because that was one of the things I struggled with when I walked in the door, is how am I going to do this for this industry and this business? And the Freedom Club gave me those tools.
That is amazing. Now, what's your background? So obviously your mom was in the mortgage industry, but you've had a career building and selling businesses before that. So what was your background?
So I mean, I had pretty much, I mean, outside of like when I was a kid, I worked at Publix, uh, and worked for an airline. And, then I had my own business for the most of the time. When I started my process service business, it was actually started as a delivery business. We were a delivery and process service business,
Okay.
but it started as a delivery business. And incidentally enough, my mom had a lot to do with it. My mom did a mortgage for this guy who had a delivery business in Orlando and was killing it. And she's like, "Oh my God, we should do this." And I was moving down to South Florida from Tallahassee.
Okay.
And this is another strange story, but my wife and I were dating. When we dated, we lived in separate cities. So we decided to move to the same city if we were going to get more serious. And so that was the move to South Florida. So then my mom said, we should start this company. And my stepfather wasn't working at the time. So we started this delivery company. And I quickly found out that there's a reason that they tell you that it takes 2 years for a business to start to make a profit, because the first year, all you do is screw up. And then the second year you pay for it. So anyway, so we kind of morphed in, and I quickly realized that most of our clients were attorneys, right?
Okay.
And so I had to change the dynamic of the business and kind of fix some of those mistakes that we were making. And one of the choices that you have is, do I go and get in more business, or do I do more for the existing people that I have?
Right.
Right. And so we made that conscious choice to do more for the people that we had, and it helped, greatly improve my business.
That is amazing.
So I had this process service company for many years. It was great. It did well for me and my family. The business was a good business. The foreclosure market in 2007 and 8 kept us super, super busy.
Yep.
And we just continued to grow from there until I sold it in 2015.
Amazing. Well, and congratulations for selling the business.
Thank you very much.
So now, when you came into your mom's business, and it was kind of like a solopreneur style setup, what systems and processes did you start putting in place right away? And what was kind of like your first things that you came in and did in the business?
Oh, that's interesting. So we went to when I got involved in the business, one of the other changes that happened, which is rare in the mortgage business, my mother was with the same company for 30 years.
That is very rare in the mortgage
Very
industry.
rare, right? So one of the things that happened right around the time that she got diagnosed was the bank had sold. She was always with a bank. The bank had sold and to a credit union, and the credit union only did loans where they have a physical footprint, which left her out because we do loans all over the country.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Right. Or she was doing loans all over the country. So she went to work for a mortgage company. And so my first, foray into this was at a mortgage company.
Yep.
And so it was really learning their system. They used Encompass and all that kind of stuff. And I was just trying to learn stuff. I know before coming to work, this is kind of crazy, but before coming to work for her, I got licensed and she got diagnosed in May. I took the licensing in June, and by August I trained somebody to take over my job, and was started working in August. But from June to August, while I was getting licensed, I also read the Fannie Mae and the FHA guide cover to cover.
Wow.
And I have a really good memory.
Oh,
So it's a super, super boring read, but it helps me tremendously because when it comes to, I'm the, at the bank, I'm the guideline guru, right, Jarvis?
Yes.
So that actually helped me tremendously. So the first thing I kind of did to answer your question was learn what I need to know about doing a mortgage, not necessarily selling a mortgage, but learning what I need to do to actually process to get you from the application stage all the way through.
Interesting. So I'm very interested in this question because a lot of what I see in the Freedom Club and in the larger growth strategies is actually getting away from that activity in the business and making sure that you've got great processors and you've got great people, but at the end of the day, when you come in and you're doing your focus time at work, what you're doing is the money making activities, which is the database and the realtors and the marketing and advertising. So have you found yourself shifting away from that, or is that still what you focus on because you love it? What does that look like?
Oh yeah, no, that was what I focused on when I first got into the business. I had to learn something. I had to know. I kind of feel like I have to. My approach has always been like I have to know, and I think that we all kind of do the same sort of thing, right? So it's hard to kind of give you that competitive edge. So my competitive edge was, for at least in my head, was always I know more than the next guy, and that was why do you want it when I'm meeting with a realtor, when I'm meeting, talking to a buyer, why do you want to do business with me? Because your situation may be super vanilla and awesome and great and anybody could do it, and for some people it may not be, and for the people
Right.
who are it's not, I'm going to be able to make the difference because I know more than the next guy probably.
Yeah. That
Except
makes
for the Freedom Club, because there's a bunch of people who know more than me. Yeah, I'm not cocky about it. Like, I don't mean to sound like I know everything and they don't. I just,
Oh, absolutely. And I think in the mortgage industry, there's something to learn every day. You can never.
oh,
Uh,
constantly,
Excellent.
constantly.
So now tell me about the business as it exists today. So roughly how much volume are you guys doing and that sort of thing, just so our listeners have a rough idea.
Okay. So last year we did 135 million.
Okay.
We're on pace to do the same thing.
Awesome.
I have a team of people. The way that the team is broken up, there's me as the senior loan officer. My mom is a loan officer too, so she's getting business.
Okay.
The way what she kind of does, it's kind of funny because she's sort of morphed into a really really good LP, in
Okay.
that she doesn't go out and get new business, but her phone rings and she kind of takes her apps and she likes doing her thing. And one of the challenges that I've had is getting somebody who's done the same thing for 30 years, and incorporating these new ideas while allowing her to do sort of the same thing that she wants to do, because she's not going to change, which is great,
Yes.
which is absolutely fine. So I have a junior LO, who's on our team, who has been my best friend for 40 years.
Oh,
One of
wow.
the other things that I did when I came to work is I recognized a skill set in him that I believed would translate well to this business. And so once I was in the business for about 6 months, I'm like, you need to come. And so he's been with me ever since. Then we have 4 LPs,
Okay.
4 loan partners. We have a marketing person.
Okay.
And then we have Jarvis, another like a senior level marketing person. And Jarvis does not only work for the branch, but or for me specifically, he does work and support the other members of the branch as well.
Phenomenal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a phenomenal team. 4 loan processors, a junior LO, and then 2 marketing people within to help a junior and a senior marketing person.
Yeah. 4 loan partners. We have processors too. They're just not on our team.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the loan partners help us, from the application side and stuff like that. Then we have processors that are part of North Point Bank. There are 3 of them, particularly in our branch, but I don't have like one specific processor or one specific underwriter.
Awesome. Okay. So now let's open up the conversation into where you're getting all of the business. And maybe Jarvis, you can hop in on this part of the conversation. We'll probably touch on some marketing and advertising and all this stuff. So when you're focused on your money-making activities throughout the day, where are you getting the business from?
It's really realtors and past clients.
Yep.
Well, not just realtors, but realtors, financial planners, and past clients.
Got it.
So, and it's a matter of, I think one of the things that we try to do is, and again, it's always about it. One of the lessons that you learn from the Freedom Club is it's about adding value. How can we add value? I often say that I have this sort of giver's gain mentality. I want to give to you. I'm not going to ask you necessarily for business, even though that's contrary to everything that they say at the Freedom Club to always ask. I sort of like Jewish guilt you, like keep giving you and giving you until you're like, oh my God, like I gotta send this guy somebody.
That is the first time I've ever heard that phrase.
So we're trying to, so our belief is if I can add value to our relationship, you're going to want to refer me business. Yep. You're just going to want to. And so it helps me. But I do think that I know that Ayala, my marketing person, she's much better at it, saying, hey, do you know anybody else? Do you have anybody? And all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. It's that's important. Now, what does it look like let's dig first into the past clients, because that's, okay, fundamental of most mortgage businesses. What processes do you have in place in order to reach out to your past clients and get business from your database?
So we do. We actually follow the Freedom Club to a T on that. We reach out to everybody every 13 weeks with a phone call, email, or text, or text. We also, we have a CRM that touches them all the time on a continual basis.
Yep.
I know one of the things that we're going to start doing is social events again. Yes. Jarvis is taking care of that. Maybe like a happy hour where we can bring some of our realtor partners and some of our local past clients in together. So I certainly want to do that. We give one of the things we do on a transaction is after the transaction we send a gift, and the gift in our case we do a blanket. The nice thing about the blanket, though, it's personalized, so it has their name on it.
Yep.
But it also in the very bottom has the Brandt team at North Point Bank.
Nice.
So, which is cool because they're constantly looking at it. And so I get really good feedback about it. That's one of the other things that we do. For every loan that we close, we do give something.
Yep.
The thing that I try to do, the rule that I have when we're giving something out is I want something that they're going to keep, but that it also has to have our name on it. Like sometimes we'll do a cutting board.
Yep.
But we didn't do the wood ones they're all monogrammed, they're all personalized, but they also have a spot for sort of us.
Right. That's a great way to look at that, and the personalization is key because it shows thought and you care, right?
Yeah, I had a realtor one time give me a picture. It was a frame picture with their name on the bottom, and it was a picture of the view of the house that I just sold.
Oh, no way!
All right, and so we hung the picture up.
Yeah.
That picture, like you always had that picture, and people would walk in and you'd be like, oh yeah, the realtor. Oh yeah, his name's right over there. And so that's kind of, it's not a new idea. I just stole somebody else's.
Oh, that is fantastic. So that's the past clients. Now let's talk a little bit about realtors. What systems and processes do you have in place to go get realtor business?
So the realtors is it's the same kind of thing. So with the realtors, it's all about adding value, right? Yes. So it's number one, we're updating them every week when we're, for people who are pre-approved and looking. So we're keeping them in the loop on those kind of things. When you're out of it, when you're not working on a specific file, we're contacting you to say, to ask you what you need for us, how can we support you? How can we support you to improve your business and stuff like that? And so that's how we do it. In addition to our CRM touching them and all that, giving them our CRM. One of the nice things about our CRM is that when we have a loan in process, they're also getting updates with emails and video.
And is all of that automatic? So you've pre-shot all of the videos and you've pre-shot all that content and it automatically goes out?
So the video, so we're working on like more customized video, but the video was actually developed by North Point Bank. So it's not super personalized,
Right.
but it just kind of tells you about the process. Like, hey, the loan's in processing now. Here's what, don't go buy a car. And, that kind of stuff.
No matter how many times I hear that, it's so important to remind them not to make those big purchases. But
oh my God, it is absolutely crazy. Yeah.
So that's a phenomenal process. So every realtor that you're doing business with, they're getting a weekly call when they have a deal in process with you. Are you calling out to realtors on the other side?
Yeah, we're calling the listing agent. We call the listing agent, we call the title company. Yeah. Converting listing agents to referral partners is that like at sort of our business level, like that's sort of our key to really growth, right? I don't have to necessarily meet new realtors all the time, because I've already got this one realtor who has a reason to talk to me. And while they're in process, that's a real key too, is while they're in process is when you want to develop that relationship. Developing that relationship after the transaction's over, they don't have an impetus to talk to you anymore. And so the dynamic is a lot different. And then once they kind of see how sort of engaged, the best compliment I've ever received from a real estate agent was that they've never met a real estate agent, they've never had a relationship with a loan officer who they thought was as dedicated to building their business as we are.
And what a compliment that is. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. So thanks to the Freedom Club and there's a video series that they do. The Realtor, what's it called? Oh my God, it just escapes me. Jarvis, what's that thing called? The little videos that they do for the realtors. There's like a video series, and so
bomb.
No. There's a video series that they do, that the Freedom Club does.
Agent Mastermind.
Agent Mastermind, right? So watching the Agent Mastermind videos and then basically taking that data like it's your data, and then you sound like a genius.
It works. And man, that has been, I've lost track of how long those have been going for. It's just an incredibly valuable tool. And for our listeners that don't know what that is, it's a training that's done once a week where you can invite your real estate partners to go to a training. The Mortgage Marketing Animals hosts the training. So there's great speakers on, there's tons and tons of people on those webinars, but you get an individual link to send out to your realtor partners. So when they register and they attend, you get notified that they were on the training so that you can follow up afterwards.
Yeah, one of the smartest things you should do though is watch the trainings. So because a lot of the times the realtors don't go to it, they don't sort of have a stake in it. And so if you can watch the training and then share that information, because they'll hear it from you, they don't necessarily hear it from that.
Yeah. And the tip of staying in touch with them while you're in process of the deal that's fantastically valuable, because it's when you've got their attention and it's when you build that rapport, and oftentimes it's when you get the next referral. So you're constantly keeping that communication pathway open, because if you're constantly working on deals together, it's just that much easier to maintain the relationship.
Yeah, we also, one of the things we do too is we set an expectation with the realtor when we first reach out to the realtor, we actually, kind of introduce ourselves and everything like that, and set the expectation that we're going to do everything we can to earn their trust so that we work on another transaction. And so when we're following up with them, every week after that and sort of asking for the business like Ayala does, it kind of helps. I found that they're a little bit more receptive to it. It doesn't feel as awkward to me, and it might only be in my head, but it doesn't feel as awkward to me because I already told them I'm going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Okay, there's a whole bunch of psychology that goes behind that. That's why we train that you should ask your client for a 5-star review on Google before the deal closes, so that after, when you reach out, it makes a lot more sense and more people will actually leave you a 5-star review. Same thing with the realtor. Like, hey, I'm going to do such a good job on this transaction. You're going to want to refer me business in the future.
So it's interesting that you brought that up, because one of the things that we do with the 5-star review is when you don't leave us a review, like if we ask for the realtor to leave us a review after the transaction, and
There's a
more
great
often
tip right there.
right, but more often than not they don't. But but what we do is it invites us to reach out to them and kind of be like, look, we don't know, we just want to make sure that you had a 5-star experience, whether you did the review or not. Was there anything that we could have done better? And it allows us to kind of do that conversation where we sort of have a touch. I guess we could do it in advance too. So that's a great tip. Jarvis, did you hear that?
Yes, indeed. Thanks.
And I'm sure you'll do a better job than I would on that, Jarvis. So that's fantastic. So now, one other thing that I found really interesting about your business, Richard, and about the way that you run it is you process loans across the country. So we've talked about your database marketing. We've talked about realtor marketing. Now let's talk about how do you bring in loans from all across the country? How are you kind of like location agnostic, and what does that look like?
So that kind of ties into my other business. So I had this process service business, and had clients all over the country. And so we've been able to sort of take those relationships, and I've been really lucky in that the relationships that I had built in my business over the years kind of translated well, even though I'm doing something different, that those people still kind of knew, like, and trusted me. And the fact that they already knew, like, and trusted me, it didn't matter that I was doing something different. They still kind of had faith that I could do this just as well as I did that. And I probably do this better. For whatever reason, I seem to have an ability at this, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that's kind of that sort of helped. We have a network of financial planners that are not, sorry, I dropped something. We have a network of financial planners that are all over the country too, part of the financial planning organization. So they're not geographic specific. So as they get clients, and stuff like that, they'll just refer to us because it doesn't matter. That's one of the reasons why we went from a bank to a mortgage company. You have a lot more freedom in a mortgage company. We're definitely a little more structured.
Yeah.
So you have a lot more freedom, but despite the freedom, for us, it was really having those relationships, and all over the country is kind of great. I've done loans in Puerto Rico and St. Thomas. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So those financial planners, do you have a process in place to go out and build those relationships? Are you constantly building those? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly fostering relationships with them. So one of the things that we do, like, again, we take some of the stuff that we do from the Freedom Club that we learn, right?
Yep.
And we use some of those tools to kind of help foster the relationships with those type of professions. Because at the end of the day, financial planners are salespeople just like we are. They're selling themselves. And so we're teaching them about, hey, let me show you how you can improve mining your own database. Yes. And how you can get your clients to continue to refer you. And so going back to that Jewish guilt thing, if I add value to our relationship, if your W-2 is bigger from you having to know me, how are you not going to continue to send me business?
Yep. Oh, that's so true. And that works for your realtor relationships, financial planners, insurance advisors. Like, every single referral partner that you have can do a better job of marketing to their database, to marketing to the leads that they already have. All of those fundamentals that we help put in place, that just translates out to all those other businesses because it works for all of them.
No, Jewish guilt has worked for 5,000 years. Why reinvent the wheel?
That's amazing. And so So we'll switch gears a little bit and talk about direct marketing. So do you have any direct marketing that you put out into the marketplace? Are you doing anything consumer direct?
No. So that's actually my next project. One of the changes that I'm making, one of the things that I'm doing on our as part of our team is I'm taking like one day a week where I'm sort of focusing on the business instead of in the business.
Nice.
The Freedom Club is really, I should be doing that 5 days a week, but we're sort of not there yet. But the idea is to take one day a week. And so our direct mail project, that's one of the projects that I want to incorporate. We don't do enough of that on a consistent basis, and it does work. We've done it a few times, and what ends up happening is you do it a few times, you don't get the result you want, so you just jump to other stuff.
Right.
And it really does work. And we try to be also creative. And one of the things that we did do a couple times, like the Freedom Club produced the thing of like obscure holidays.
Yes.
So we would send out, the direct mail would be of these obscure holidays and stuff like that, and you just get super busy with time and stuff like that, and you don't do it. So we have not been as adept at that, and I think it's, we need to be a lot better.
Well, it's everybody has room for improvement, and it's fantastic to see you running a business with the systems and the processes in place where you can take a whole day out of a week and dedicate to new process and new initiatives, and not just being on that loan officer roller coaster of, just processing, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I will tell you, one of the things when I kind of joined the Freedom Club, my big thing was time. I was working, 90, 100 hours a week. There was a time where I think I worked till 2:00 in the morning for a month and a half straight, no break. Like it was killing me. And it was good, but in terms of the money, but eventually you're going to die. So being able to kind of, Jarvis was telling me today that I'm starting to do a much better job of like delegating and stuff like that. That's the thing that I cherish the most is the Freedom Club has given me a little bit more time.
Yes.
And we're balancing that out even to like that, the Friday thing that we were talking about is I'm going to create even more time and continue to do that.
That is phenomenal and amazing to see, because time is the only thing you can't buy, and it's the only thing you can't get back. So it really is our most precious asset.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, Richard, thank you so much for being so generous with your time here today and for sharing with us. And for
30
all of
minutes,
our
I'm not going to get back. No, I'm just kidding.
But think of all of the people that you've helped with the interview today. And I'm sure that some favors coming back. Now, if there's a loan officer out there that's looking at your model and thinking, hey, that would be a really cool thing to be a part of, or a realtor that's thinking, or a financial planner that's thinking, hey, that'd be a great partner to work with, how do people reach out to you? How do people get a hold of you?
So you can go to the Brandt Home Finance at brandthomefinance.com is our website.
Okay.
They can also call 954. You want me to just give the number?
Sure. Yeah.
954-476-8223. And email me at rich.brandt@northpoint.com, and Northpoint ends in an E.
Excellent. And we will have all of those details in the show notes for the episode for everybody that's looking for it. So again, Richard, thank you for being here. Jarvis, thank you for being on backup for us. And for all of our listeners, thank you very much for listening, and looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Don't forget to head on over to iTunes and leave that 5-star review. Have a great day, everybody.
Cheers.
Hey, it's Chris Johnstone. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I hope that you loved it and got incredible value from it. Right now, it's time to head on over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review if you enjoyed this episode. When you do, you will be entered into our monthly draw to receive an Amazon gift card. So go ahead, leave that review today. It also helps us attract top talent and really get incredible interviews lined up for you so that we can share even more value for you. Now, for the show notes and for all of the resources that were mentioned in this episode, you can head on over to loanofficerwealth.com. That's loanofficerwealth.com. loanofficerwealth.com. You get access to all the show notes from all the episodes, all the past episodes, get notified of new episodes when they drop, and we've also got some very special bonuses for you over on that page when you opt in. So head on over and opt in today, and we look forward to sharing the next episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast with you soon.